I would not have been happy.
We're unmuted. Unmuted. We're unmuted. Jim, she's ready.
Are you ready?
Yep.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Becky, would you call the roll?
Sure will. Jim Sheeline,
Here.
Tom Kitson,
Present.
Mike Book, Nancy Naylor,
Present.
Jennifer Dallas.
Here.
Okay, as soon as the chairman pulls up his agenda to make sure he's on the right track. Charlie, do you got anything for us while I'm messing around here? All right. Reed, you got anything besides what's on the agenda?
I guess the only thing I would say is Paul is absent today, but we will be doing our first distribution here coming up in the next week or two for all of the other public bodies to expect that coming in, and we'll also get our portion of that first installment for our property tax within the next 2 weeks. So
Very good. Overall, did collection go smoothly? I mean, other than Tom was running interference for all you guys, yelling at everybody to make sure they behave themselves down the second floor.
No, it went well. It's always busier than you'd even expect that last week or two of before the due date, but we got it all reconciled and ready to do the distribution. So
Good, very good. Handle on delinquents? Or,
I don't know exactly where we're at, but based on like the collections that we have, I think we're sitting higher from a percentage of total property taxes owed. A higher percentage than we were probably last year. The mix of that, whether or not there's just more people paying both installments upfront earlier versus people being late, not exactly sure at the moment. But we'll get closer. We can run some reports that show our delinquencies.
I don't always, you'd always expect, the angst over property taxes constantly increasing. There was a lot of rhetoric, a lot of emotion out there, and I was hearing it all the time. And does that correlate to people, wait until the last second or not paying?
Well, there's a lot of people that wait till like the last day of June. It's a pretty steady stream into the office. I guess one thing that I would say for those that are local and bank local, can go to your bank to pay those property taxes. So you can still wait, but you might not then have to wait in line here. So,
Right. Very good. Thanks, Reed. Dean and Keen. Almost rhymes. I said, Keen, do you have anything for us? Yeah. I understand that. Michael. All right, Nancy.
I do.
Awesome.
Just wanted to throw out the reminder that all the open county board seats that are coming up in the 2026 election, just FYI, there's 3 seats on County Board 1, 3 in County Board 2, 2 in County Board 3, and 3 seats on County Board 4. I'm trying to get these out to the people that names are listed on there. So if anyone has any questions, please reach out to me and or the election department, because those packets will be ready August 5th. And the filing dates this year, they're like all about a month ahead of schedule. So filing dates this year are October 27th through November 3rd. But the girls have all kinds of packets ready down in the election department
Good deal.
for August 5th.
Why is it that it seems like it's early this year?
I don't know. Yeah, State Board of Elections are a month ahead. I don't know if they want to give people more time to get their signatures. Also, like I said, I did not include that, I was going to do that, of how many signatures are required for all of the county board members. I'm going to say most of them they're under 20. And then this election is the election for my position, sheriff, and Paul, the treasurer, the treasurer's office. So the three of us will be pulling, well, hopefully, all of us are pulling petitions
Yeah.
in August.
And good luck to you all. So, all right, well, appreciate that heads up and, yeah, it just seems.
There's a lot of,
Just
yeah,
weird
no,
that
it's early.
early.
It's definitely early. Trust me, the girls have said that multiple times.
I'll bet.
Because they enjoy this year because there's not an election in the fall, so they get to get all their, ducks in a row and everything. But yeah, so it's a little early this year.
Okay.
Thank
Good
you.
Good to know, good information. Thanks, Nancy. Okay, we've got the minutes. Everybody had a chance to look at the minutes. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, I entertain motion to approve minutes. Moved by Naylor, seconded by Kitzman. All those in favor signify by saying Kitz. Did I say Kitzman? That's right. I always do that. I do that. Tom Kitzman called me. I said to Bert, I said, Tom Kitzman called me. So I do that. You'll have to kick me under the table. Kitson, Mr. Thomas Kitson was the seconder of the motion. Did we get that correct?
Aye.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. God, my group keeps me on my toes all the
Yeah.
time. All right, we've got the treasurer's monthly financial report. Read.
All right. So I guess a few things to point out. If you're on the cash balances page, I'm sure everyone saw kind of the general fund and where it currently sits. I guess I just wanted to kind of explain why, if you're comparing 6/30 of 25 versus 6/30 of 24, it's really a timing issue of when we did the transfer from public safety to pay the bonds. Public safety, there's a public safety fund that generates revenue. We set up a transfer to pay the bonds out of county general. We do pay the bonds out of county general. We just haven't done the transfer yet. It's basically like a little over $1 million. So you do that, we're probably a lot closer to what 6/30 of 24 was. And if you scroll down a little bit, right, you can see the public safety cash balance compared to the cash balance of 2024. They're kind of just flipped in for this year at this point. We can do that transfer whenever we want. Last year it was done just a little earlier, but it's merely just a paper adjustment than anything really different with us. From the general fund, expenses, we're still kind of basically being right at our target every month. I think in the next few months, people are going to need to watch their budgets to make sure where they're at. It's always good to maybe save up for that unexpected expense. But as far as right now, we're kind of right on budget for where our expenses are. There's some variations between departments of people being up, people being down. And some of that can do with just timing of year of when they're busier. Obviously the treasurer's office, we're going to be busier. We pull in additional help to help during the tax collection season, right? So, you're going to see some slightly higher expenses in these months versus October, November, January, right? So, but again, right on target as far as expenses go. I guess any questions on the expense side of things? Revenue, we're still getting significantly lower amounts in use tax, which I think we know. I guess my question, and then I've sent an email to our contact person of the state, is to kind of get a feel of, are we done doing those reallocations between use tax and sales tax, or is that like, how long is that process going to go along, what their projection is? More so to get a feel for next year's budgeting and where things might line up. I mean, looking at You know, if I'm just looking at the last few months to say, hey, if this is what use tax is like going forward, it's like $90,000 versus we were getting $500,000 a year. So again, that's not just necessarily we've lost out on all of that because it's being adjusted to county sales tax. County sales tax is just a significantly bigger number. So it doesn't look like it's making quite as big of an impact, right? If you said, I had something that was giving me $500,000 a year, but now I'm only getting 90, well, that's a big jump. But if I have sales tax that was giving me 2.2 million, but now I'm getting 2.6, like, oh yeah, it went up. But so there is that kind of dynamic between those two. But hopefully our contact there can kind of give us a timeline on when they're done making those those adjustments between the two buckets and potentially what to expect going forward for budgeting. Yeah.
I have a question. That contact that you had with the state, have you heard back from them or when do you expect for them to give you an answer?
Pretty quick.
Okay.
He usually,
He's pretty good.
I'm wondering if he has like a notification on his watch or something for every email he gets back. Cause usually when we contact him, it's within like 10 minutes that he
Okay.
responds. So I don't know if maybe he's out on vacation or something, but
There's a lot
he's
of them
usually,
out, trust me.
he's
Yeah.
usually pretty quick.
Okay.
So I hope to have that answer soon, and see where we'll be at so that we can do our projections for next year.
Thank you.
Tom? The only thing that I had, because we were looking at the other day, Reed, the sales tax, so we're $18,000 ahead of last year, but is that, there's really, that doesn't tell the whole story when you look at.
Well,
the
sales
monthly
tax does
figures.
include the use tax, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So we are.
So that's
ahead.
kind of
We are still
deceiving.
ahead. But you would, you know,
The sales taxes are running pretty significantly
yeah,
higher.
and especially if you look at it, what's cleaner to look at is the public safety tax, just
Mhm.
because, you know, that's a sales tax and it is broken out just like by itself. You look at those numbers and on the tax revenue page, you can kind of see sales tax, especially related to public safety sales tax, is up quite a bit.
Yeah, nearly 10%.
Yeah, so
year-over-year.
I guess you would generally expect, you know, the other buckets to be up similar because it's taxed in a similar way, but we're also throwing in those adjustments to use tax and sales tax that on the grand, you know, on the whole, probably hurts us a little bit because we are a rural area and don't have as much retailers with Nexus here. And so that could be why it's not exactly trending at exactly the same rate as the public safety, but yeah, there's some nuances within the county sales tax because of what's happening with use tax.
Sure. Nothing exciting on the landfill tax. Did you want to make a comment on the cannabis? We always make a. Take a look at
I mean,
that.
it's I guess from what I've seen so far, it's continuing to come in very strong and higher than I guess I would have expected. I initially expected kind of a large amount in the first few months, but then to maybe die down a little bit, and we have not seen that at all. It's continued to come in pretty strong. So, yeah, it's doing well.
No. Yeah. Remember, this is finance. So we look at revenue as revenue. Hate saying that, but, all right. Anything else, Reed?
Not that I can think of.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Insurance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do have a report from our recent insurance committee. I wish it was better news, but it's not. something we're going to have to address. The Lee County Insurance Committee met this past Tuesday here in the committee room, and along with Tom Kitson and myself, there were 12 different department representatives. And our benefit consultant, Angie Moscato, joined us in person, which was really good because she's usually on the video and on the Zoom meeting, and we can't really see the numbers very well. And so it was very helpful, particularly at this time of the year. So we got a good update on what our last few months have been. The bottom line of it, I won't belabor it because it is what it is, but there is a huge increase. And one of the factors for that increase is the GLP-1 drug coverage, which has been blown up. Everybody's doing it, whatever. There's no harm, no foul here. It's just what it is. But that coverage, because the cost of those drugs has really increased our policy. So it is time to renew our policy for this coming year. She provided 4 options for us. Number 1 would be just continuing the way we are with the current plan. Other than the increase, it seems to be providing what we need for the employees. Number 2 would be to remove the GLP drugs totally, and we would have a negative 3.5% rated adjustment. So we would go down 3.5%. Option 3 and 4 would be making some requirement adjustments to the current plan that we have, which will result in a negative 1% rate adjustment for one and option, or for the first one, and the last option would result in a negative 0.5% adjustment. So they're minimal. Tom and I talked about it and both agreed they probably were. It was so minuscule that to adjust people's coverage and the information they needed to provide and the gap that might be there might not even be beneficial to us. But what we do know is if we choose option 2, which is to remove the coverage of those drugs, the deadline for this change is July 31st. July 31st is next week. And that's because they have to go before a board and get it done. If we choose one of the other options for our plan, the deadline is September 12th. So bottom line is by September 12th, we need to make a decision how to go. One more factor is our enrollment is up 3.2%. And the average age is down. It's now 33.2 years. And Angie equated that to, there were several babies that were born, and that changes the flow. But we've talked before about the average age will trend down because of people retiring. And I think that shows in that report as well. Sarah's not here. Sarah, I'll just give you a brief. Sarah had a great wellness report for us. And just a couple of points. They have negotiated with the YMCA for county employees to have a special rate. They're continuing to work on that, and that looks like it might happen. So that's really encouraging. They're doing summer look and learns and continuing on, and they've had a lot of success with yoga. They did a plant meeting where Nancy Wadsworth of the Lee County Extension came and did that. And then she also announced the dates for the biometrics for this year. They're October 8th through October 15th. And the location is going to be the post house across the street. So they've worked on that. They have another meeting coming up on July 29th at 2:00 in the health department. And she encouraged everyone to visit. So that's all I have. Unless there are any questions, I will try to answer them. But I think I need to mention that it's 13.5% rate increase on our health insurance for next year. Save the best for last.
Significant.
Significant hit. Last year,
Yeah.
it was under 5%.
Right.
It's about a 10% increase.
Right.
Significant for basically same coverage.
But did I understand you correctly that sorry.
No,
Did
that's
I-
okay.
Did I understand you correctly that it is primarily due to the coverage of that one drug?
It is because that drug is, well, there's 2 things. The drug is per dose, $1,250. That's the value that they put on it. And then, of course, they pay for it. A couple of other things about the drug. There is no generic form. There's 4 different specific drugs. There's no generic form. Keeping in mind that this drug is prescribed a lot for people, not just for weight loss, but it controls a lot of other things. It will help reduce diabetes, things like that. So it has a healthy effect on it. And she explained that extensively to us. And the other, so that is a lot of the increase. But our general pool, we were above the average of the pool this year. So sometimes we're below the average in the pool. So we help other people float out, but we were way above average. We had a couple of very large claims that she said would be a one-time thing. I don't remember what they all were right now. It's not important what they were. It's just that we had a couple of large claims. And those would be a one-time thing and go away, but that's next year, not this year. So there's other factors, but the basic factor is the number of people. There's a lot of people that are using that new drug.
Do we know the percentage of the employees? I mean, I understand HIPAA. Okay.
18
Yeah.
employees are
Yep.
using it. But she said one
Here's
place
the-
she'd just been, they had like originally 6 people using it and then they went up considerably.
Mm.
And if you're using that drug as a prescription drug because of diabetes, that's not included. But it's when people are using it as a weight loss drug. And she said frequently they'll get people who say, I'm going to a wedding in 2 months, so I want my doctor to prescribe that so I can lose weight before I go to the wedding. But we are up about $1 million in expenses of our, of our normal medical expense stuff. We were higher this year. And that was a big factor. But she said everybody in the pool is having the same problem with this so-called weight loss drug. And then most people are saying they're just going to let it ride and not do anything,
Not
things to make changes,
Mhm.
but
They do anticipate, they do anticipate coming forth with a generic version, but nobody can predict when that's going to happen.
So, and just to note, again, as Nancy was saying, there are multiple contributing factors to this increase. And even if, let's say, the county decided to remove that from our coverage, we're still going to be at a 10% increase. So, it's not, that's what I'm getting at is those other contributing factors create that 10% increase. If we remove that drug completely from our coverage, that's a 3% change.
Okay, so it really contributes 3% to the increase, which equates to how many dollars?
I don't have that figure right now.
No,
Sorry.
there's other
There's-
stuff in the $1 million.
Yeah.
Not
Right.
just GLP-1s, but that is a
Yeah.
contributing factor.
I mean, we had some other there's other prescription drugs that are in
Mhm.
there that are very, very expensive that we're covering. That contribute to that as well.
Our claims were actually 3.5 million higher than they were last year. Claims.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Which can be
So-
a one-off year, like you
Which
said.
could,
I mean,
yeah,
it's just, yeah.
she attributed it to what she thought would be a one-off thing expense. It's not like a chronic ongoing thing. And we don't get into that because that's pretty much proprietary information. It doesn't matter who or what, kind of
Absolutely.
thing. But that, and then just for information, our current medical rate is 13.5% and our dental is 9.5%. The dental was high as well.
Mhm.
So one other thing I was gonna, out of pocket, here it is. With the pool, our rate increase was 129%. Yet if we were not in the pool, our rate increase was 146%. So it behooves us to be in this pool. Sometimes we help others and sometimes others help us.
And this is what insurance company?
Blue Cross Blue Shield.
And then do we get quotes from other?
We, like 3 years ago, Tom, we went through this process with a broker that came in and rated us and they looked around, a consultant, and brought back 5 or 6 options. And this was the best one. And it was the one we had, but it was by far the best one. Tom and I were on that committee at the time and Jim had dictated that wanted this done. And every 5 years, I think was your thought process. And next year would be the year. We'll be in our 4th year.
Wow.
Yeah. So
We've been
answer
in
to
this,
answer.
I think we've been in this program 8 years. I think
Yeah.
because we used to just have a broker that did it and we got into this program with a pool and saved us considerable money
Mhm.
over the years.
The pool
So-
does, yeah.
We're kind of semi self-insured. So there's basically 3 components. And there's the pool, we have a self-insurance piece, and then we've got the main layer, the excess layer with Blue Cross Blue Shield. So a big increase from Blue Cross Blue Shield is not going to be, it's going to be a factor, but it's not going to be a major driver of the increased costs. It's a combination of the 3. And it makes for kind of a challenging thing to, when you want to go out and look at something else, we looked at a standalone policy, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and I think Aetna was the other one I think we did. It was significantly higher cost. The pool was an obvious choice that we stay in the pool. So, and for whatever reason, we've been
lucky.
We've been, yeah.
Yeah, I
We've
mean-
been kind of the drag, the anchor
Yeah.
within the pool.
Yeah.
And the pool saved us a considerable
Mhm.
amount of money over time.
And last year we had a real good year.
Yeah,
Mhm.
last year, yeah, we were,
Yeah.
we were in good shape, but it's,
And I think she felt it very necessary to talk about this drug because as Tom said, other people in the pool were experiencing the same thing because it's just recently been added and those statistics were available. But things that factor into it, we had a lot of children born births this past year. We had a couple of claims over $150,000 and things that, to your point, they make it all put in one pot. It increases everything. It's not just one thing. And there's probably not just one thing that can fix it if we change something. I think it's,
so as of,
Across the
you guys
board.
aren't recommending any changes that we'd have to do this month?
No, I mean, we're kind of recommending we just let it ride as it is,
yeah.
like so many others are, and pay for the drug. But as far as looking at other insurance, from the experience we had when we did it 4 years ago or
Mhm.
whatever, as high as we are this year, nobody's going to pick us.
Yeah.
yeah,
Right, so
we were in a bad place to
we
look
need to be in a
around.
good time to look at somebody else. And when we did look, nobody was better than, I'm not suggesting we shouldn't compare. It's always worthwhile to do that.
Right.
But the pool has been very, very good for us, so.
And I think that, next year, riding along with it, we'll have more historic information on this drug. And also, she talked, and I realized it's her position and her job to do that, but about the fact that it takes some time because when people take this drug, it also controls their blood pressure, they lose weight, controls their blood pressure and other things. So she said the prediction is that some of your higher medical costs will go down because people are losing weight. And some of the options, the other two options that we had, other than riding with it or canceling it, were to make an adjustment, we'd only save 1% or 0.5%. And they would create a lot of need for the individual person covered to meet different criteria. And there may be a gap period where they wouldn't have coverage for, I know, she mentioned 3 months as this new option goes into place. And it seems to me there'd be a lot of administrative work on this side of it with people change their options that would probably eat up the 1%. I'm not
Right.
sure, but that's what I thought.
Even a 1% is a lot of money, but is it really worth it for the healthcare
To lose.
employees?
Yeah,
And to eliminate the whole thing, that decision has to be made very quickly. And I don't think that's the best interest for our employees to do that. However, she did say that somebody's working on a generic
mhm.
that should come out mid next year.
Yep.
Right, Reed? Is that-
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought she said later 2026 that there was a possibility. Now,
Okay.
come out for
Yeah,
testing
okay.
and whatnot, or,
Okay.
I don't know how long it's gonna take to get
Well-
to market, but yeah, she did say that was something that they were looking forward to in the near future.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think Tom and I agreed that because there's a short period of time, we would really need, if we're going to go to another company, we need to do like we did last time and have a committee, listen to all of the options that starts in the beginning of the year, perhaps next year, to really review it. And, going through the year, when we have our quarterly meetings, the statistic that she's able to provide really don't reflect what's going to happen in the end. You might be trending to be very little percent of increase, but then something big happens or there's an illness or something, and that's going to change it. It's hard to predict until the end. So unfortunately.
Charlie, remind me, so we have this choice. I don't remember last year. Do we make is that something we take to the county board? I don't remember
We have
doing
not,
that.
we have not done that in
Do
the
what?
past. Taking
Taking it to the
that
county board.
That's,
Oh.
So we would,
Yeah.
so I would say that we'd incorporate, if the your guys' recommendation is to move forward with just staying put and not making any adjustments, then that's going to have to be incorporated into the new budget. So.
Yes, it is.
So for clarity on
yeah.
that, is this increase absorbed by the employee or what part is the county absorbing? What does it mean?
In my opinion, it's the county absorbs the rate increase.
The county does
Well,
it.
It's split
Is it
between
split?
everybody.
Yeah.
So county employee pays 25%, county pays 75%.
Correct.
So
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's.
unless you change that ratio, they're
It
gonna-
will affect
it's
the
just gonna stay
employees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right. It'll affect that to maintain that same percentage.
yes.
Well, and to relieve a little heartache, last year, we had one of the lowest rates of increase they had. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And so, I mean, we've done very well the last couple of years with them. And I think it's like everything else, we've got to average this out and say, okay, this year we're
Yeah.
going to pay more. I don't like it. It's going to affect our budget, but let's look back at the last couple of years where we've done better. And
It's the average,
Kinda
they average it
average it out
out.
and say-
Mhm. Yeah, because it's an uncontrollable
it's, I
cost.
don't know, it doesn't make any less money,
No,
but a
or-
little better understanding. It's not like it's every year it's going up these kind of rates.
And this would be the time to decide if we do want to review again, or 5-year review, if that's something we want to keep doing. Now would be the time to decide to do that starting in 2026, because it took us a year to do that.
So
Right.
that's the intention for next year is within the insurance committee to go to market and do a review. So that was kind of already in the plan for
Yeah.
next year.
So.
I think that's a wise choice. I think you have
We
to
can
do
do it
that.
every,
Yeah.
yeah. 5 years seems to me reasonable. I mean, it takes a year to do it and then you work with it for the 4 years and
Yeah,
review
because
again.
then we have enough time to
Mhm.
go through that process and make a decision before renewal. So-
And it takes a while for anybody to really, research the comps and research all of the pieces and parts. And that company did a very good job of presenting it to us. You weren't here on it, Jeremy, but Tom, don't you believe they were,
Yeah, I think.
they were very nonpartisan. They were very good at what they did and they had very good information to make a decision. And some companies won't take you. So they were knocked off right off the top of it and they researched that. So it really eliminates the work of us who don't really know much about insurance. Any other questions or anything?
I don't think so. I
We
think
need to
we'll
know.
incorporate the rate increase within the budget and we'll
Mhm. Do
move
we need to
forward
vote
from
on
there.
that or is that just
Hmm?
we need a vote on that?
We do not.
Darlene?
It's a recommendation.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Administrative report, Jeremy.
Nothing really to report outside of what's on the agenda, except for, Reed and I have been going through department budgets, and we are waiting on a few more pieces to come in. And then we'll be able to pull everything back together and look at everything under the broad lens to see where we're at. And then we'll be able to come to our, budget hearing prep and sit down with you guys and start working through that. So it's taken up a lot of our time right now and trying to make sure we're prepared for FY '26.
So did we make a decision on what we were doing with the outside groups? Why, but
Yeah, we already
Agencies?
posted
Yeah.
that, so we're gonna have to stick with that schedule this year. Next year, we can make the change
okay.
for social services.
Social services,
Yep.
thank you.
I just have one logistic question. I still have on my calendar a 22nd,
Correct. Tuesday, the 22nd?
Tuesday the 20th. Is
Yep.
that's still firm?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The first meeting of the
Yeah,
finance.
it's a budget.
Budget
overview.
meeting, budget
Okay.
overview meeting.
So that'll be our first pass through in taking all the department heads'
Next
requests.
Tuesday.
And Reed and Jeremy have incorporated that in with our projected revenues and we'll have that initial number, which we will hate and it'll scare us to death because we'll look at that and say, oh my God, the earth is falling and everybody runs for the hills. And then we come back and we go through the budget process and we figure it out.
Yeah,
So,
just remember, that's gonna be first look, right?
yep, it's the first look.
Historically, that meeting is more focused on the revenue side of
Right.
things. I can't remember the exact numbers, but last year, yeah, everybody had provided budgets back, but we hadn't gone through them in detail, and there were quite a bit of someone put an expense here and someone else put an expense here, but it was really for the same thing. So there was some like double counting us and stuff. And so you gotta work through that of, we're getting 18, 20 different budgets from all sorts of people. And so you gotta kind of look at them in total and compare them to each other and go, where are we duplicating some things here and back them out. But yeah, last year it was mostly
Last year
focused
it
on
was
the revenue side.
1.2 million deficit we were looking
Something
at
like that,
last
yeah.
year.
And it, we started going through it and it reduced. Not to say that people didn't tighten up their budgets from that initial pass to where it was finally passed. They definitely did that. But yes, part of it was just being able to go through everything and identify where there might be duplicative costs.
Yeah. And part of that process is as those things come in, if there's something glaring that is in a department head's budget request, Jeremy and Reed are in constant communication with them, and they've pulled me in and, given me an update. And so, not to say that our job is done by any means by the time we get to the budget hearings, but that process really can answer some of the glaring questions and get maybe some things adjusted, before it hits us. So anyway. All righty. No ARPA report. Oh, anything else, Jeremy? That it?
No, sir.
Okay. Very good. Okay, we don't have any unfinished business. New business is financial director position reorganization. And I'll let Jeremy take the lead on this and I'll chime in when necessary.
Okay, so, this has been an initiative for the county since, with the inception of hiring the finance director position. And, in the beginning, it was tucked under the treasurer's office as we were building that position within our operation. I think the goal long-term had always been to organize that position under the administration offices to make sure that there's a separation of duties and to make sure that we are looking at, broader interdepartmental collaboration and strategic, planning for the county. So what we have done over the course of a year and a half is, meet about this periodically. As we are approaching elections, we wanted to make sure that we move through this process before the end of the year. So what you see before you is a draft resolution that was crafted, just talking about the reorganization to put that into effect that the board will have to pass. And the other document is just an updated description and position description for the finance director, mirroring those changes within the resolution. Alongside of that, we will have to update our financial policies to reflect those changes as well, because there's very specific call outs in there for how we're currently operating. With the reorganization, we'll have to change that. And I do have a draft of that, but I'm working on a red line to bring to you guys as well. So with that, in talking with Jim, we wanted to have an open discussion about that, make sure that finance committee understood what we were trying to accomplish with this, and then bring it back next month to move forward. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, do you want to talk about some of the vision processing of this and what we're trying to accomplish?
Yeah, so one of the challenges that when we started down this process was that as the treasurer being an elected position, there's no qualifications for being treasurer. I mean, none. You don't have any financial background whatsoever, and you can put yourself out, campaign, and you can be treasurer. And there's nothing wrong with that. The treasurer's position, by definition,
Well,
by
there's opinions about
statute.
it.
Well,
You said there's
No,
nothing wrong with that, but. Yes, but there is, yeah.
well, by statute though, the treasurer really does not have anything to do with the budget. and really doesn't have anything to do with, making sure the fiscal discipline to the department heads. So that, there was a gap there that the treasurers had filled over the years, but really, as Paula, when Paula was treasurer, and she was doing the budget stuff, she would constantly remind me, I don't have to do this, Jim. I really don't have to do this. And I would roll my eyes and I'd say, yeah, but you're doing it anyway. It was very clear that as we've tried to more professionalize county government here in Lee County, that it made sense to have, as we have the administrator, that we build a hierarchy underneath the administrator that takes care of a lot, these functions and have clear definitions and lines of authority and responsibility. So we're taking the financial part of having a financial professional, putting that under, having as a direct report to the administrator. And that way, there's not going to be a disruption in the changeover from one treasurer to the next. So in our view, this makes sense from a lot of different vantage points.
Yeah, and to keep in mind, I mean, this is a structure that's pretty standard across most counties that have the administrative structure. We're not creating something new. And actually, what I've looked into was comp counties like Winnebago and other places that are doing this, research that and try to implement that into the changes that we're looking at in front of us. From a treasurer's office responsibility standpoint, I mean, it's tax collection and distribution, right? It's investments of county funds, things like that. So we have the ability to remove those from within the treasurer's office and restructure that and still be in compliance with statute.
I think it makes perfect sense. Yeah.
We've just been really lucky in the last few years that we had Paul and Paula that had that background.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
we could have needed to do this way sooner. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, we've been very, very fortunate.
Charlie, Reed, do you guys have any comment on this? No? Good. Bree's just along for the ride.
You guys have any comments, any questions? Everybody understands what we're doing and
We need to vote on this to put it on the agenda.
yeah, but he's doing it right now. He's under Paul. So when you look at the lines of who's reporting to what, Reed's reporting to the treasurer.
Theoretically, in my mind, this does not really change what I do from a day-to-day side of things. Our treasurer's office has taken on more responsibility than probably is statutorily required for them for like managing our accounting software, but it's because we had the expertise of Paul and Paula. It just made sense to do it that way. And they were willing enough to do it, right? Even though they didn't have to. So, yeah, from a day-to-day aspect, I will still continue to be doing the same things that I have been doing. So,
Yeah, I'm not opposed to what's being brought up here. I just want to find out. I thought probably this is what you're doing right now. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I understood that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And, again, the operation, you're not going to see a change in the operation per se, and there's still going to be the collaboration that is currently happening and the work within the offices it's still going to proceed. There might be a space where he doesn't live downstairs and might be up here, but that doesn't mean that the interactions and the, interdepartment collaboration and workflow will change.
From my perspective, it's good because when there's a change of the treasurer, because it's an elected office, you don't have the disruption within that department on doing the things that they do all the time. So it's more continuity and cohesiveness. That's my opinion.
I agree.
So do we need a motion to move this to?
We didn't put it on as an action item. We put it on just to discuss, to make sure that everybody understood what was coming forth, because next month, what we'll do is we'll put this resolution as well as the financial policy changes that are going to have to reflect this change.
Okay.
on your agenda to move forward.
Yep.
And
We,
then,
we just wanted to make sure
Right.
that we had an
Yeah, no.
opportunity to talk about it. And if anybody had any
Okay.
concerns or questions on, where we were going. I mean, we've talked about this
Right,
for
for a
some
long
time,
time. Yeah.
but we're actually
Okay.
doing kind of the final piece.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we're doing the execution part of it, and I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page. Yeah.
That was my word, sorry, I didn't mean it that way. The grouping.
That's right. So if there's no further questions, that's the only thing that we have on, as far as new business. We do not have an executive session. If there's no other conversation for the good of the cause, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Mr. Kitson, seconded by Ms. Dallas. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you, everybody.